Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here in Boulder Canyon. I'm just bringing our tractor on round over here and I'm going to do a little bit more of the stump grinding. And I'd also like to do the whole finding where the missing stumps are on this map, anywhere that we've overlooked the stump. I've disabled this new global mod thingamajiggy just for now, and we should in theory be able to locate all of the underground stumps without needing to do anything else. It should be able to find them for us. Now, the great thing about the Place Anywhere mod is that it does override where any of these stumps might be. You can go and you can reform the terrain, you can move things around. It's absolutely great. The downside to it is that the hired help, if there's a stump under the ground, will still do strange and funny things. And we don't like that. We don't want the hired help to do strange and funny things when there are stumps under the ground. We want to be able to go on and do all of our farming normally without having to do anything with buried tree stumps. So there doesn't seem to be a way around that at the moment, and I know from previous experience elsewhere that there isn't really a lot that we can do about it. Other than either I do it like this, where I actually get rid of the stumps, or I deal with it in the Giants editor, which I haven't actually done. I haven't actually loaded up and installed or anything the editor program yet for FS19. Which I suppose is something I should do. I did have a little tinker around with it, and I used to play with a few bits and pieces in 17. So it's probably a good idea if I at least take a look at it, maybe try and do a few things. I know that there's quite a few people who are having a good play around with it now on the Discord, and some of you, well, you've actually seen the fruits of some of their labours in the videos, you know, like the Skittles tractors that Patrio Gracemark has gone and made, and then our Alps series, that's all in the map that Jimmy J has gone through, and he's sort of made that one seasons ready for us, which is why I'm not releasing it, by the way. I can't go releasing any mods that are incompatible with the just general sort of what is considered acceptable with mods. If you modify a mod, that's fine, but you never upload the modified mod and pass it off as your own without express permission of the original creator. That is just something that we don't do. So there will be no sharing of the map for the Alps Panorama series. And I mean, so far though, we haven't really got much else that we need to worry about with that. We've got the Alps Panorama one, but there aren't many other mods that I've got that I can't share. Well, there is the Ducky one, the Duck Zorley one that went up earlier in the week, and that one also needs to be dealt with. Well, not dealt with. It's just that I can't share it. That's all. That's the only thing with it, is that I'm just not going to upload or share the mod. There's no link for it. There won't be a link for it. It's a privately edited mod that was done so that you would be able to enjoy the vehicles. But they're not mine to share. The Skittles tractors, the ones that Patrio Gracemark did, he may decide to release them, because what he's done is he's taken the original Giants models and he's modified them. That you're allowed to do. That's not infringing on anyone else's mods that they've gone and done any work on. And Giants are more than happy for you to do that and then upload the results. So he may decide to release the Skittles pack, but that's entirely up to Patrio. That's his decision. If he does, then I will, of course, inform you if I know of a link for them. I'm going to get that one off there. And then I've got one right there. There's quite a lot of stumps in this little bit here, isn't there? It's surprising just how many stumps we've got here all together, right the way across this whole thing. Now, that bit, it's generally easier to go and plough first, and then you can see the stumps afterwards, but I don't actually want to do that. I'd like to try and get rid of as many of the stumps as possible before I do any of the other work, just because that would be a more realistic approach to it. Like, a real-life approach to it wouldn't be to plow with the stumps still in the ground, you would plow, you would remove the stumps first. Then you would do your plowing. I'm going too fast through these. Let's try and take a few of them out sensibly and slowly, like this. And bring that one back over there. Then we'll go that way. We've got some slightly taller ones there, which present a little bit more of a problem because we've got to, we can't just drive over them. It's much easier if you can just straddle the stumps and everything. You can just straddle right over the top of them. Very, very easy. Yeah, look at that. See? See what I mean? I'll lift that one up there. Put it over the top. Lower it down. That's that bit done. There's a big old collection of them right there in the middle. There's a bird dish there to our left. And a few more stumps up there. We'll come back for that cluster. We'll head up this way and get some of these. Like that. And then I can get that one there and then back up a little bit and get that one there. There we go. I'm very quickly getting through these. This is probably the single most tedious job that you can do when it comes to, like, creating your field. When you, like, I love doing this, right? This is something that I really do enjoy doing, is creating a farm from scratch, carving it out of the wilderness. There's something about the whole idea of it that really appeals to me. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. I don't really know exactly why it appeals to me so much, but it does. It's the whole idea of doing it just appeals to me in general. Just carving out this whole farm from absolutely nothing. All you got is a patch of wilderness, and then you create a full working farm out of it. It's really cool. I really like it. Out of the whole experience, yes, cutting down trees is a bit of a tedious task at times, but at least, you know, you're getting a decent bit of reward from it and stuff like that. This is probably, this stump grinding bit, for me, it's probably the most boring of all of the tasks that you got to do. Alright, it is probably the most tedious. I mean, plowing is fairly tedious, but at least you know, like, you get to the plowing point and you're creating a brand new field, right? You've gotten all of that work done, and you're then at the point where you're making yourself a brand new field, and that bit, I don't know, there's a little bit more reward with that bit, whereas this bit here is just slow, tedious, and takes forever. I mean, at least we're not doing it with the bog standard in-game stump grinder, because that one's even worse. That one just really takes time, doesn't it? That just makes the whole job, like, soul-destroying. It goes beyond heartbreaking and becomes utterly soul-destroying. But this, at least, is reasonably quick. We do have that in its favour, but, I mean, well, say reasonably quick, it's still pretty slow, isn't it? It's still pretty slow going. And we've got a fairly unrealistic stump grinder on this. Let's bring that back. I mean, any job in this game does get tedious after a while, doesn't it? There aren't many jobs that you can do that you're quite happy to do for hundreds and hundreds of hours. The same job over and over. Well, saying that, I'm usually fairly happy to cut an awful lot of grass and bale it up and do stuff with it. And probably more so than I am on a lot of other crops. But yeah, there's something about, it's probably just because of the part of the world I'm from. You know, grass is like the thing that we grow around here. There is nothing in the southwest of the UK. You do get other crops. You get potatoes. There's quite a large section of Cornwall is known for growing potatoes. We grow the earlies down here. We grow the first potato crops of the whole year. Ours are ready before anywhere else in the country, so we pride ourselves on our early potatoes. That's further down the country, that's further down the county than where I live. But for the most part, the thing that we grow best in this part of the world is grass. We have lots of rain, we have just enough sunshine to go with it, and that is perfect conditions for growing grass, and growing grass on a very large scale. And this is sort of People tell me that we should be growing more crops and we should be eating less meat because it's environmentally friendly, and I'm sure it is in certain parts of the world, but in this part of the world, that argument kind of falls a little bit flat because we can grow grass, but we struggle to grow a lot of other crops. We really do. We genuinely struggle to grow a lot of crops at times. Some years, like the yield you get from other crops is absolutely appalling. It's terrible. And whereas grass it can be relied upon. Even in the severe drought years, you still get a reasonable crop of grass coming up. And like there always seems to be grass. And I've never really known this county ever to be short of grass. Even like we had quite a severe drought last year, and it certainly slowed the grass growth down, but it made up for it. It did make up for it, and there was a little bit less feed than there had been just with the grass, but still, the grass was there. The other crops, I've no idea how they did, to be honest. But the grass, it ended up doing all right, and it's because of all the water. We get lots of water here. We're stuck out on it. We're an archipelago. We stick out into the ocean. We got water all the way around us. And it means that our weather just brings in lots and lots and lots of rain. And so a lot of the animals around here, you know, we got a lot of beef and a lot of sheep around here. People are always talking about how much grain goes into feeding beef and sheep. The thing is, yeah, there are some farmers that give a lot of grain to their beef and sheep around here, but a lot of it is what is known as grass-fed and grass-fattened. They don't give them any grain. Right? They may give them a little supplement grain. It's just like a tiny little bit extra. There are some animals that are fattened up on a diet exclusively of grain. That doesn't happen with us. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. Let me just state that if I say something doesn't happen, that doesn't mean it definitely doesn't happen. It just means that it doesn't happen anywhere near me that I know of. That would be a better way of putting it, because otherwise, yeah, there is always exceptions to the rule, right? There always will be, there always has been, and there always will be. However, there is a huge amount of the beef and sheep in these parts that are grass-fed and grass-fattened. They don't see grain. They don't eat grain, they eat grass. And lots and lots and lots of it. Loads of grass. And that makes them fat and sleek. And then they end up at the butcher's. Fat and sleek. And it's all because of grass. And yeah, it's great us, you know, trying to reduce carbon footprints and everything else. But when you live in an area that grows lots and lots and lots of grass, and there's large chunks of Cornwall that simply cannot grow crops, right? It's just not physically possible to grow crops in large areas of Cornwall. Grass-fed is the way forward, and so we can eat grass. Humans are not. We struggle to digest this stuff. Right, and quite honestly, it's not particularly appetizing. So I'm more than happy to digest an animal. I'm quite happy to go and digest the cow, and I'm quite happy to go and digest the sheep as well. This shouldn't be here. This one should not be here. I'm wondering if I trim it a little bit, is that going to help? Like, if I cut that one there. Right, we've cut the end off. How much have I got to cut for it to disappear? Right, well, I can't cut that bit, but I've cut the rest of it. Put that down there. There we go. Right, that one's made that one disappear. It's only, like, literally $1 if I take it over to the mill, so it's just not worth the effort. So, yeah, there you go. We have a lot of beef and sheep around here, and they grow... They do very well. They do wonderfully well on all of the grass. And so we're converting all of this grass on this land that we can't really do much else with and turning it into food. I don't really see much of a problem with that. But yeah, I'm talking about this because I've seen quite a few arguments about how we should all be vegetarian and we should never eat any meat. And I'm sort of looking out the window and I'm thinking, well, if I become a vegetarian and I stop eating the animals that are grown literally in the fields next door to me, I've then got to go and start getting food from somewhere else. I've got to get a protein source. And yeah, you can get some protein through cereals, but you do also need a bit of meat to go with it. I mean, you really need, like, beans and stuff to go for proteins. We don't grow beans very well down here. It's too wet. They tend to rot in the fields. I mean, you can. It is done in places, I believe, but they don't do very well. All right? You get a slightly poor. You've got to have a really good year to be able to grow beans in Cornwall because of the rainfall that we have. And so, therefore, in order to be able to eat this meat, and in order to be able to eat a vegetarian diet, and to be, you know, to stop eating quite so much meat, because that's not so good for the environment, I've then got to start bringing my food in from several hundred miles away instead of just down the road. And surely then, the cost of all of that fuel offsets the saving that may have been made with the rest of it. And also, it's only environmentally friendly when you take into account 100% grain-fed animals. Now, the animals are not 100% grain-fed. That changes things completely, right? The numbers all disappear, and they come up. The numbers come up very, very differently when you're looking at grass-fed. If you look at grass-fed animals compared to grain-fed animals, everything is different. Like, if you look at environmental impact. And I don't normally talk about this sort of thing. It's just that I've seen quite a bit about it lately, and it's got me thinking. I'm working in the middle of a load of grass here, and, like, really, is it beneficial? I'm looking at this, and I try to stay as well informed as I possibly can on all these subjects, because, you know, it seems like a good idea to stay informed on this sort of thing. And I'm looking at this, and honestly, like, there's so much data about it that just sort of conflicts with this message that we shouldn't be eating meat. Because, you know, for the environment, regardless of personal choices to become a vegetarian, I respect those personal choices. I know plenty of people who have chosen to become vegetarian, and I respect them because they respect my right not to be. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's kind of the end of it. But there seems to be a lot of aggressive discourse about this lately, and it seems to get more and more aggressive because people start screaming about climate and so on. And yes, climate change is a really big thing. Even those people who say that climate change itself is becoming harder and harder for people to deny that the climate is not changing. Yes, the whole whether or not humans have caused it, I'm sure there's going to be people arguing about that for a long time to come, and I'm not getting into that now. There is all sorts of data out there. You can go and look it up. No, what I'm talking about is whether or not there is actually a severe environmental impact from eating animals, well, just from eating animals in general. And the big argument is that animals produce methane. And methane is a greenhouse gas. However, counter to that is that methane doesn't last in the atmosphere for very long, and the carbon, basically animals take up and they put down. It's kind of, there's a lot of arguments in that present animals as being carbon neutral, same as trees. If you have a wood fire and you burn a wood fire, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that that is carbon neutral. Some people will say that it's not, but there's a lot of evidence to suggest that it is actually carbon neutral. Whether it definitely is or definitely isn't, I wouldn't really like to say. I don't want to get into it now, but that's sort of the thoughts I've been thinking of late. I'd be interested to hear some discourse about this in the comment section. As always, please keep it polite. I'm touching on a subject at the moment that can cause some tempers to flare, and I'm confident that we can have a adult discussion without people acting childish and name-calling and other such idiocy. There's no need for any of that. We don't need to be name-calling and various idiocies. We can just discourse in a friendly manner. I'd like to think we can, anyway. Now, we've got terrain cannot be modified here. There is a spot right here. Terrain cannot be modified. So what I'm going to do is each time I find that, I'm going to make this... Actually, no, I'm not going to make it smaller. I am just going to do that, though. There. So I've marked that one out. I got another one down here. Okay. There's a whole load of them here underneath. What was. So, really kind of down through there. Got a load of them. And then there's another one in there. Like that. So far, this sort of seems to be working, right? We can't go out there because we don't own the land. We're not really worried about that. We've got signs all the way up through the edges up there. I don't know why there are so many signs on the edges. Okay, so we've got a section here. There's actually quite a big area here. Yeah, there's a big chunk of it right here. We're going to have to dig quite a bit there, I think. And it will be doing the digging in the next episode. That's the idea, is that we go over this and we find where these tree stumps are by using just the ordinary landscaping tools like this. And it tells us everywhere that the terrain cannot be modified. Now, that's where that rock is, and that's the edges of the rock. So I'm sort of thinking that that's part of the rock there, rather than anything else. So I can ignore that bit. And we can have a look over this side. So let's go around over here. Oh, right. We've definitely got something in here. There's a section right under here that we want to go. We want to mark that out there like that. And there I can see the edge of the tree stump, actually, right there. So there's one. We got the trees there, so I'm thinking there's one under here as well. Somewhere there is one. That's don't own the land. That becomes the issue up on the side, is that it says you don't own the land. Terrain cannot be modified here. Right, I got something under there. Let's keep going. We just want to work our way. Oh, no, there's another section under here. Modify that bit under there. And, right, we got... That seems to be like a line around there. Let's do that. Yeah. Right, that comes over there as well. And then... Oh, my goodness me. This one's gone way out, this one has. It looks like several of the trees that we cut down here. Yeah, it does. It looks like a lot of the trees that we cut down here have actually... like, fallen in... not been cleared. So I need to do that all the way back through there. A bit there. A bit there. A little bit there as well. So it looks... yeah, we got several stumps that we're going to have to sort of pick up underneath this bit. Oh, you don't own that land. Okay, that... They don't own the land. That's fine. But, oh, no, there we go. We've got terrain cannot be modified here. That's kind of under that bit there, by the look of it. Yeah. And then there in the middle on that bit down there. Like that. And then up here. So we've got quite a bit up here. Like up on the top here, there seems to be a fair bit of it that has affected. We'll do a bit up through there. Right, we'll go all the way down there like that. Anywhere that we've got these marks, we will then lower the terrain. In our next episode, we'll bring in the Place Anywhere mod again. And we will lower the terrain anywhere that this is marked. Which is for all of that as well. Like that. Okay. There's that bit. Now we will turn round. And we will move over here. And we've got to start working our way down this hill now. This is going to be... right, that there is like the edge of that stone. I think. I'm fairly convinced that's the edge of stone. Down here, that's looking alright. Now, is that the edge of the stone there? Doesn't seem to be anything out that side. There's a little bit there, but that's getting in close to that tree there, so I'm not too worried about that one. Over here, though, that's not a tree. That's definitely something under there. And then back over this way, I've got a piece here in the middle. How far down does that go? Goes to about that point there. And up to there. Right, we'll fill in that bit there like that. How far over here does we go? Ooh, crumbs. Yeah, like that. And then that goes over there. Alright, I've got to fill in all of that bit. So we got quite a big piece there. There could be several stumps under that bit. And I got more bits over here. There's a piece in the middle there. That's very likely only one stump, see. Terrain cannot be... Ooh. Right, there's something on that edge. That one may be harder to find than some of the rest of them. And... yeah, another piece in here. Like that. And then we come down here. We've got... move there into... there's another piece right there in the middle there. Down this way, what have we got? Terrain cannot be modified out on this side. See, that's do not own the land. But whether that's to do with the road, I'm not quite sure. It seems to... I'm not sure about that bit. That might be the road over there. And... there's a big chunk down through here. I'm beginning to think that it's partly... I'm beginning to think that this is partly to do with the, like the hills. So if we got the hill there, wherever there's the hill, and also the size of the trees. Like he's dropped some of the trees under the map a little ways, and thus caused it to come up a little bit funny. So I got another piece there. There's a surprising number of them here, really, isn't there? Like all of that down there. There's that bit over there. Look. And then there's a piece there. What else have I got? That bit there in the middle is clear, but then there's a piece over here, look. That actually goes through this bit over here. So this is essentially, it's sort of running along that. And then I come back over here. That's... oh. There. There's quite a big piece here. That goes over to there. And that fills out to about there. All the way down to here. Oops. Right, well, I didn't actually mean to do that. That was definitely not supposed to happen. I'm supposed to mark it with that. That was the idea. That was the idea there. And it's not even supposed... yeah, that's because I was out that far, and it's saying that terrain can't be modified there. I'm supposed to bring that out, and then this back here. This obviously is being modified. I need to now unmodify. See, it's allowing me to modify some of this. There's the bit that it's not allowing me to touch. I got to bring that in a bit and just flatten that down again. Right. As long as that can hold there. I know that we're going to lose a little bit of our crop this time round. Here's another bit. And... right, that's all good up the top there. Now we need to start figuring out where this bit is. I got a section there. That sort of comes out around there. And then I got another piece here. That's Right, that is... There's a piece here by the look of it. There, like that. And then another piece here. That's fine. And down here. That's all good. Let's just check over in this corner. See, that's all looking good over there. It's only along this edge in a couple of places where we get the red warning light come up. And... Oh, hang on. No, that's on painting. That's no good. Yeah, I can actually see the tree stump there. I can see 2 of them. There. See? So that's where those are coming up. And then we've got another bit right here. So now we're back on sculpting, and I know that we've got, somewhere out along here, we've got more tree stumps, and they are under the ground, and there is nothing that we can do about that. We've got to dig them up. So bring this over here. Oh, it's an interesting way of doing it, I think, doing it like this, having to dig them up like this. I may, in the future, not do this quite so much. Right, I've got some here on the edge of the field. Goes to there. So there's a bit there. Over to there. Like that. Oh, there. And there as well. Right, so we want to fill in that little gap right there. There's nothing else coming this way, is there? Yeah, we got more up this way. There's a bit right there. That's where that one starts. Yeah, like that. Yeah, so that's just right on the very edge of the field there, that bit is. There's another bit there. And then I'll bring you over here. See, this one goes out a little ways. This one does. Goes to there, like that. How far up have I got to go? Right, that's that bit done. See, I know that there's a lot of tree stumps down through here from... I did look myself previously. I went and just loaded up the save and then dug down a whole load, and there is a surprising number of tree stumps under here in places. Like, we actually missed far more than I thought, but it's just on that bit. It's just on this one edge over here. Put that into there. Yeah, it's usually pretty good with the very edge of the field there. We've got a bit underneath us right here. There. That's that edge, so it's this bit in the middle. Up there is alright. There, and then down this way. Yeah, see that bit? That's to do with that one. That's not actually a tree stump. There. Okay, we have now done all of the tree stumps, and we've run out of time. That should be every tree stump that is under the ground is now marked, which means that in our next episode... Oh. One more little bit there. In our next episode, we will use... I'm not gonna activate the global mod thing. I'm gonna get the place anywhere mod, and we're gonna use that one. And we're gonna start digging up some of these tree stumps that are under the ground, and then we're gonna start getting rid of them. So I see one of them there. And that might be... See, it might just be that some of these is all... There, let's get rid of that. It might be that some of those are only being marked up because of... there's one tree stump in the middle. So it looks like a huge, great big area, but there is actually only one tree stump. But that is all I've got time for today. So if you enjoyed the episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time... Thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.